Hidely-ho there, neighbors. I hope you're all well and everything is going well. I'm going to do a brief talk about my first impressions of the game Knee Deep. Let's see. Now, I should preface by saying that up front, I know the guys involved in making this. They are many of them friends and former coworkers. So it is possible that I am not completely objective in this assessment, but I will try my best to be as detached as as a friend can be. First off, thing with Knee Deep is it's a narrative-driven game in the same way that the Telltale games are narrative-driven. You are going through and making a series of choices that affect how the story will play out. Now, if you're looking for a Twitch game, this isn't it, obviously. But this is a nice one, especially for the tabletop players who like a good bit of story with their gaming. The mystery centers on a actor found hanging from a water tower outside of a small Florida town, and the people trying to solve the mystery. One of the things it does differently than a lot of the other sort of narrative style games is it embeds the conceit that this is all a play. The actors enters the stage, and there's a stage that rotates to fit where they're going. They walk in, they join the scene. They walk up to a building rather than it showing them walking into the building or any of the things that you would assume would happen. It instead opens up the front of the building so you can see what it's like inside that building. Like it was a stage that somebody was sitting at, a really advanced stage maybe, but a stage that somebody had built so that you could watch this play out. There are three narrators. Those narrators each have their own personalities. The writing style definitely reflects their personalities. Among the choices you can make is not just the dialogue choices, which is fairly standard, but in all three characters' cases, they have a way of relating what's going on to somebody else. One's sort of a blogger, and they get write blog responses based off of the clues that or blog posts based on the clues that they find. So and you get to choose where you want to take that clue. You can go super cautious, and it's like, here's just the data. You can go super you go the other end of the spectrum, and be all reactionary and inflammatory and try and drive traffic because it's sensational, but it's also possibly wrong. So there's that. And that's an example of how you might do it. They each have three choices of what you can do. You can also choose what evidence you're going to use to make your reports. Sometimes you will emphasize things that you found out, and some things you didn't. Am I going to talk about this other seemingly side plot involving local politics, or am I going to focus on the murder? And it occasionally switches over to a 2 days later thing where they foreshadow an investigation of what happened over the next couple of days of you trying to investigate what happened to this dead actor. There is a well, there is a stand-in for Scientology. Weists, which is kind of a weird thing, but they sound a good deal like Scientology, to the point that it to the point of almost being parody, but it's not played for parody quite yet. Anyway, the church has its own agendas. The guy who died was a member of that church, and so that affects a lot of things. But yeah, it's a little bit ballsy in that it is fairly obvious that it is based on Scientology as a model, but I like how they've handled it so far. They're not just playing it for parody. They have interesting NPCs, multiple storylines, and you have to poke your way around in it. I've only played it for a few hours now, and it's neat. Maybe a full hour. I've played for maybe a full hour, and it's pretty neat. They're releasing it in chapters, like again, not unlike the Telltale games in that regard. And so far, I've enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty solid narrative game. There are the things that I, as a guy who, knows something about games and game development, goes, I bet you they wish they could have done this. Like, for instance, full voice cast. I'm willing to bet they wish they could have done a full voice cast. But that really wasn't an option in this case. They're an indie developer, and voice casts are expensive. I recognize that. I think overall, if you like a good mystery story in your games, this might be a good one for you to check out. Anyways, that's my breakdown and review of it. I hope you will check it out, because these guys do good work. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it here. I'm kind of tired. So, anyway, subscribe, like, share with all the people, and I'll include a link to the Steam page where they're selling it, and I'll see if they're on any of the other stores, and if they are, I'll include a link to it on them. Thanks for watching.